So with that, we're going to move on our little agenda here. Is Todd here? I don't see Todd. Where's Todd? Todd, you're up. So Todd Vandermeiden is our NRA legislative person. He's going to give you a rundown of the bill.
Richard touched on a word that's very important today, complacency. I remember when we used to pack this place. And the problem is people think that because we have President Trump, that we are about to nominate a reasonable justice to the United States Supreme Court, that the hard work is over. That after 8 long years of being under a constant attack and threat, that things are over. You need to tell your fellow gun owners in the state of Illinois, it's only just begun for us. We won the concealed carry fight after taking a long road through the courts. They were told, my boss Shannon's here today, we told them in 2010 they could have negotiated with us. 11, 12, and in 13 we got that court decision. Prior to that, they said talk to the hand. They didn't even want to give us a hearing on a bill in the Senate. And then we had, in the hallway last year, an Illinois senator look at us and tell us, well, we gave you carry. To which we both promptly responded, au contraire, Senator, you didn't give us anything. We went to federal court and took it. 3 federal judges gave us a carry law that you had to pass. And that is the mentality that we're dealing with over there. So with the Brady campaign on life support, with Gabby Giffords and ARS, they tried moving into the state last year. With the national groups up there figuring out that Congress is a lost cause for the time being, that in the first 2 months of the Trump administration, we've already seen some due process put back into people who are being denied their right to own a firearm because of bureaucratic decisions. The first 2 wins we've had in a long time. But with that, Bloomberg and company have moved to the states. And we sit right dead smack at the crossroads of America. And with the city of Chicago, they think that they can make ground up here in Illinois. And they're trying. Bloomberg has spent money on municipal races. They've spent money on state rep races, on state senate races. And they're trying to chisel away at things. So what do they got on deck for us? They've got this thing called the Lethal Violence Protection Order. This thing is so bad that based on hearsay evidence, somebody who lives with you or is related to you can go into court and literally take the postings and rantings on your Facebook page and go to a judge and say, he's been buying guns, I think this person is dangerous, without giving you notice, without giving you a chance to defend yourself. And if the judge agrees with them, it comes along with a warrant for the local police to come and seize all your firearms, your FOID card, and your carry license. And then sometime in the next 2 weeks, you're supposed to get a hearing where you can hire a lawyer and go prove you're innocent of a specious charge. That's what they're after. They haven't been able to overturn Heller, and with Justice Gorch, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do that anytime soon. So they're trying to add to the lists of people that can't own a gun. They want to use the NICS system. They want to use the prohibitions to sit there and thin down our ranks, because that's the only way they're going to do it. Then we have this bill, Senate Bill 1857, about gun dealer licensing. And they're saying this is about background checks for employees. That's funny. I thought if you worked in a gun shop, you had to have a FOID card. They say it's about accountability. It's not. This is about running gun dealers out of business. Back in the Clinton years, we had 250,000 FFLs in the country. Today there are 60,000. And that was largely in part due to a change in the rules and a hiking of the fee from $30 to $300. This bill allows for unlimited rules in the application process. They get to make it up as they go along. If you thought the carry rules were bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. It gives them the ability to charge an unlimited fee for that license. What could be $50 today might be $1,000 or more next year. Anytime the state gets into a budget crunch and they want to start jacking up fees for revenue, there's 2,400 FFLs in the state of Illinois. Anybody think that with a hostile administration, they aren't about jacking that fee up to $1,000, $2,500, $3,000? If you want to get a license to open a gun store in the city of Chicago, the city license is over $3,500. Can you imagine if we had an anti-gun Democrat as governor of this state, what that fee might be? You can easily kiss 30% of the FFLs out there. If you know a friend who's got an FFL that works out of his house, they're gone. It'll be left up to the Walmarts, the K's, and a few of the other big box stores that there are out there is where you'll be buying your firearms in the state of Illinois, if this passes. It's so, in my impression, the rules are so open-ended, they could require that every dealer turn over a list of make, model, serial number, and the person that bought it once a month, if that's what they wanted to do. They've written that into previous bills. They're just trying to be more clandestine about it this time. So they're coming after with that. And if it isn't bad enough that they want to try to run gun dealers out of business, and they want to keep people from owning firearms because they happen to write rants about The Walking Dead on Facebook, they also want to ban the use of lead ammunition if you're hunting on state property. Now, a lot of people have had to hunt on state property because farmland's getting leased up by the outfitters. It's getting plowed under up north by me in the subdivisions. Just don't have all the places that we used to have. And with that, so now, this would be essentially a ban on deer hunting with firearms on state property, because there aren't any good alternatives for muzzleloaders, for shotguns. And if you make the core of a bullet something other than lead, you start running afoul of the armor-piercing ammo bans. And if lead ammo isn't good enough to use for hunting, then why should we allow it for shooting? Anybody ever hear of Sparta? What do you think happens if they were to carry this that next step further and institute a ban on lead ammunition on state property, period? The Grand American goes away. Those shotgun ranges that exist at some of the conservation areas go away. A lot of that stuff disappears because they want to use regulations and rules in insidious ways to get at us what they haven't been able to do in the past. And before my phone rings, it sounds like a klaxon. And that's what we're fighting today. So it looks like we're on a little bit of defense. And part of that is because the anti-gun leadership in the House and Senate won't allow us to move a number of bills. They've stacked committees against us. They've held things up. They've sent stuff to subcommittee. They've sent them to hostile committees to where we can't get things moving. Why? Because last year, we put the ever-loving fear of God into them when we worked on a bill to legalize suppressors in the state of Illinois. We're the only state between New York and California where suppressors are illegal for the average citizen to own. Now, some people say, well, okay, why? Well, leadership has kind of put their thumb down on us making any major reforms to carry. The legislature is controlled by Chicago legislators. We have to deal with that. So we took it in a different path. And so last year we worked and worked and worked to try to find a way to pass a bill to bring Illinois up with the other 42 states where suppressors are legal. How many people in this room are shooters that have some form of hearing loss? Let me speak a little louder. How many people here would like to have the opportunity to own a suppressor for their 22 or their ARs or their 9mm? Okay. So that bill didn't make it on your sheet with the bills to support. It is Senate Bill 50. When you get to your legislators today, would you please reiterate your support for legalizing suppressors in the state of Illinois? Might not be a perfect bill the first time out of the box, but think about this. We were the last state in the nation to pass carry. And when we plugged that hole, it was like driving a stake through the heart of that anti-gun vampire. They lost a big one. Now we're the only state in the Midwest in that map Can you imagine if we plug that hole, the shrieks and howls from the anti-gunners as Illinois doesn't go backwards, but continues to move forwards in the pro-gun Second Amendment arena? They're actually running around at committee hearings saying that guns need to be loud because if there's a shooting, people need to know that it's gunfire. They think that somehow a suppressor is like they see in the movies. And I had to remind a senator, how many people remember the movie Airplane? Remember what the sound of the jet was? It was a propeller-driven airplane. They edit the sound in movies, and that's the only frame of reference a lot of people have is what they've had in the movies. But we can't be complacent. We need to double our ranks here. I mean, Barack Obama was the greatest gun salesman we've seen in a long time. At the start of Barack Obama's term, we had 1.2 million FOID cards. Today, we have 2.1 million FOID cards. Our ranks aren't diminishing. It's not the same old guys buying more guns. More and more women are getting into it. We're bringing more kids into it, the next generation. I have a 17-year-old that loves to shoot practical rifle with his AR-15. We're all good, but they're not here. So I'm gonna have to rely on you guys today to get around the Capitol, press the flesh, tell them the bills we oppose, tell them the bills we support. Please don't forget Senate Bill 50 when you talk to senators. And we got a chance. We got an even money chance. If we can get it to the floor, we can pass a bill and take more ground away. And you know what? I will feel oh so good when I get to go home and oil the gun with the tears of the anti-gun liberals. Thank you. Have a nice day.